Hello. So I had some people ask me on a recent post that I did what build I was running in the Dark Zone. I've been running this one as one of my personal favorite AR builds for Striker. Doesn't have to be Eagle Bearer, but it is my personal favorite gun right now. That tenacity proc when you pull it off and don't die to it, pure dopamine rush. So I've been really liking the Eagle Bearer lately in the Dark Zone. But technically you can use anything you want. Like St. Elmo's is also a really good one. It has a really good damage profile, and pulling off that um, shock on players is really helpful, especially when you're solo. But Bighorn also works on this build, especially because I've stacked so hard into crit chance, crit damage. But I don't know if I'd particularly recommend it for this setup. I do have a different striker setup that is built around the Bighorn. Shield Splinter is also a really good choice, and same with Huntsman. I've been messing around with the Carbine 7. I see why people like it, but I just don't think it's for me. I don't really. It shoots too slow, especially when you're running around solo or duo. It does hit pretty hard, but I'd still recommend a FAMAS if you don't have the Huntsman, or an F2000 if you don't have the Shield Splinter. All those guns will work. It is Striker. You hit hard enough that it doesn't really matter. I went with Coyote Mask over Catharsis, just based on the fact that I want to try to burst people down as quickly as possible. You could technically run a Grupo chest, but your crit chance won't be as high, and you'll have to stack harder into it than I did. My current stats are 52.6%, and I don't even have everything maxed out. I think I should be around 55% when I finish. Yeah, I have crit damage on most of my striker pieces. I think the gloves are the only ones with crit chance. And as you saw in the clips, it does really good damage, and I really like this build a lot. It's my personal favorite. The skills and backup weapons are obviously up to you, but I find a lot of success with Lefty, and I put Rate of Fire on it just so I can build my stacks even faster, and then getting the perfect sledgehammer mark to go off on somebody is also really funny. The way I usually do that is I'll throw a couple of grenades first before I actually pull out Lefty, because a lot of people see the grenades, they don't hit that hard, and then it's just a stagger thing, right? But if you throw the first two and they get hit by it, no sledgehammer mark, and then you throw in another one, they'll still stand there, take the sledgehammer, and you can get a cheeky sledgehammer proc like that. It's usually how I do it. Uh, I'd probably recommend running the card pistol over Orbit, but because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really pull out Orbit to kill players, and if you pull out the TD card custom for that extra skill tier while you're running away, it gets you a stronger drone, right? So that is probably something I should do. Actually, I should probably switch that now. But yeah, the skills, I would highly recommend running Decoy and Defender Drone. Decoy just because you are a little bit squishier than most other face tanking builds, and a lot of people like running Armor Regen Bighorn and they run at you. So Decoy gives you that chance to try and get lost and they can't track you as easily. And if you're playing on console, I don't know about PC, it actually messes with people's aim assist, because it'll lock onto that if you're hiding around your decoy. So that is a really nice tech thing that you can do. Oh yeah, I guess I should show off. I'm using Unbreakable. You could run Obliterate for that extra damage to just try to burst people out, but I find it helps me survive tenacity procs and people who run up and face tank you. So that one's a personal choice, but I really like Unbreakable over Obliterate. I feel like I do enough damage that I don't really need Obliterate. But yeah, I suppose I could show my Bighorn Striker build. Where is it? This one. So this one, I need a new Bellstone chest. This is supposed to have Hazard Pro, but I just haven't been able to get one yet. But yeah, I stack into Headshot for the Bighorn. and I run a Yawl piece with Hasbro headshot, and everything on my striker is also headshot. This one is a little bit higher skill ceiling, a little bit higher damage output, for sure. I run the Ninja Bike just for the extra damage and off of not Bellstone. I get armor on kill and armor regen, and has pro weapon damage. And I think Yawl is probably like my favorite for Ninja Bike builds, just because you get that weapon damage. It feels a little bit like a Bakara holster at that point. But instead of a skill tier, you get Hasbro. And yeah, this is how I set up my Bighorn. I don't use this one as often as my other build. As you can see, I didn't proficiency out everything. And I also use Rock and Roll on this one instead of Lefty, because it's harder to build stacks with the Bighorn, so I feel like this one is a lot more necessary to run on here. And it also has rate of fire, just to help it out a lot more. This one I do prefer Orbit over TD Card Custom, because it makes the Bighorn hit so dang hard when you pull this off and get that 35% crit chance and 40% critical hit damage. But yeah, these are my two favorite striker setups so far, and I've been messing around with these for, I don't know, probably the couple months I've been back. Yeah. I guess I can show off like the ones that I use for supports too. This one is the Measured Assembly healer that I use in the Dark Zone. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with how Measured Assembly works, but you get skill tiers for allies within your hive. So it may look like I only have like what, 1, 2, 3, but if everyone's playing in my hive, then, or at least 3 people are playing in my hive, I get up to skill tier 6. Right, so, I guess I should show everything that's on here. I got armor, skill, haste, repair skills on everything that I can fit it onto. I kind of prefer a little bit more skill haste with this build, because one of the biggest problems with running it in this setup compared to others is your initial healing is really good and it keeps up to every other healer in that regard, but your sustain is far worse because you're only running around skill tier 3 without your hive down, so it makes it a little harder to keep up your hive because you only start off with 24 charges and you only have, I think it's 6, yeah, you only start off with 6 reinforcers. So this one you have to be a little bit more strategic in your gameplay. But Empathetic Resolve inside the hive makes life so much easier for everyone involved on your team. Anyways, I get a lot of complaints about this build whenever I play it in the DZ. But this one is better if you play it in the east and the west. It doesn't do that well in the south. Well, it does perform well in the south, but I wouldn't recommend it. The one I recommend for the south, because it's so close quarters and you can get away with it and it does a lot more, is Future Initiative. This isn't set up exactly how I want it right now, but it also still performs really well. This is supposed to be a Brazos chess piece with repair skills, skill haste, and empathetic resolve, just so you can get that extra blue core and skill haste and the extra skill tier, but this game just doesn't want to drop me a Brazos. And then yeah, it's pretty much the same idea, except for I run Murakami as my knee pads, the Emperor's Guard. Just a little cheeky thing I was trying out with bonus armor regen to try and keep myself alive a little bit better, because you are only running, well, for me I'm 3 blue cores, but if you get the Brazos chess piece, you'll be at 4 blue cores. Maybe you don't have to run Emperor's Guard, but I've been having a lot of success with this. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Future Initiative does, but when your allies are at full health, total weapon and skill damage is increased by 15%, and when you repair an ally, all allies within 5 meters are also repaired for 60% of that amount. I've seen people run it with the BTSU gloves. I'm personally not good enough to run it with the BTSU gloves, because then that means you have to really run like 6 or 5 yellow cores with Technician, or maybe 2 blue if you run around with the TD card. But I'm personally not a good enough player to make that work. But if I was running it in PvE content, I would probably do the BTSU gloves over this. But this one has really good survivability, really good healing, and really good sustain, because you're just naturally at 6 blue cores or yellow cores out the whole time. So I enjoy this one quite a bit, especially in the south. DZ. The other support build is a bighorn build, but with tardigrade. I've been messing around with this one quite a bit, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been trying out the backpack talent companion with this, just to see if I like the extra damage, and I'm also just too lazy to go get another Gila Guard, but I don't think Companion is worth it on a setup like this. I would probably just get a Gila Guard with Adrenaline Rush, or if you don't want to run Gila Guard and you want the bonus armor, you can run 3-piece Golem instead of 3-piece Gila. I just like having the extra 2% armor regen compared to the 1.5, and it also gives you health and total armor, right? So knee pads are also Emperor's Guard with armor regen and headshot damage. This one's armor regen, headshot damage, Bellstone for that 1% armor regen. You can also run this in PvE. It's actually kind of funny how well this works, because I also run Survivalist. The whole reason I was doing that is because I'm running Companion. So I run the Mender Seeker Mine to give me even more healing for no reason, and it also follows you around forever. So it keeps up Companion all the time, so that's kind of a funny thing that you can do. But if you aren't going to run Companion, I wouldn't recommend running Survivalist, but Survivalist also helps out the team, because now your medkits heal everyone. I think it's within 15 meters of you whenever you pop a medkit, so it gives your whole team a baby firewall. And it's just a really handy support build that keeps itself alive while healing others and giving them unbreakable. I guess I should explain what tardigrade does. I think everyone should know, but maybe for the new and returning players like me. Whenever you are an ally's armor breaks, they gain 80% of your armor as bonus armor for 10 seconds. The cooldown is 45 seconds per ally. And then this part doesn't matter in the DZ, but killing an enemy with your specialization weapon removes this cooldown for all allies. You're never going to pull that off in the Dark Zone, because you can't have those in there. But yeah, you're a really tanky support that gives everyone unbreakable, and if they're already running unbreakable, it gives them unnormalized unbreakable, because what am I at? 1.9 million armor, and they're getting 40% of that in the Dark Zone whenever their armor breaks. Because this is one of the talents that is normalized in the Dark Zone, right? So, and then yeah, Bighorn, damage target out of cover, just to make up for the fact that I don't do any damage. So, headshot damage everywhere. And yeah, that's the third one that I run. Do I have another? Oh, this one is a really funny idea I came up with one of my clanmates. We're getting sick of Lit on Fire by every Iron Lung user ever, because there was a lobby where we had I think it was 7 people were running Iron Lung. So I decided to come up with a way to give my team a bunch of Hasbro. The original idea was Cavalier, but it just doesn't do enough, so I was very unimpressed with it, so I did this. So I'm running a Pukaro's holster with crit damage, armor, and then it has its typical... Well, actually, I think I have another one. If you want more damage, I went with a little bit of tankiness. So technically I'm at 4 blue cores, but if you want the more damage, you can go Pukaro with skill tier. I think I have one around here. Yeah, you can go Pukaro skill tier. Still want the crit damage, so... running 3-piece Palisade for the extra skill tier. I think... what am I at? 1, 2... 3, 4. Yeah, I'm at skill tier 4 with 4 blues and pretty good hazard pro as well. But I run Unbreakable and Y'all in this current setup. There is a way to... I think everyone knows how to set up a capacitor with a bunch of reds and yellows, but if you don't, I'll show you really quick. So this brings your damage up to pretty crazy numbers. So this gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skill tiers, or 6. Brings you up to skill tier 6 with a couple reds and 2 blues. And your damage numbers get really out of hand with a setup like this. But the whole reason I run this is for the booster hive. Getting it to skill tier 6 is pretty funny because it buffs your team by 61.8%, has protection, and it lasts for 10 seconds. And all of the riot foam will just slide off of everyone. None of the fires last long enough. And it's just a really neat way to support your team while still doing pretty good damage. However, for this build, you do 100% have to run Defender Drone. Just so you can stay alive, right? People push you, you're under a skill tier 6 Defender Drone, and then you're taking, what is it, in PvP? A 29% damage reduction. I don't even think I have the right things on here, do I? Oh, I do. But yeah. These have been the builds that I use the most in the Dark Zone. I have a couple of like farming builds that I use in the Dark Zone. The one that I've been having the most fun with is this one. I run around with Hunter's Fury in the Dark Zone when I'm just farming landmarks and stuff. And it can still kill players, especially if they try to jump you in the landmark, because now you've got this 30 seconds of the extra buff, which I'm going to be honest, I really don't want to run, but Adrenaline Rush is more valuable to me than that backpack for Hunter's Fury, because Catharsis is making up for a lot of my damage. And yeah, this one sustains itself really well because you get the armor on kill and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to run Chatterbox. You can run whatever you want. This is my oh god someone's jumping me button, and if you're under full Chatterbox stacks, it doesn't really matter what build you're using at that point. You can probably drop somebody. Will you kill a whole team with a setup like this? No, but if you're getting jumped by like a single person, you have a chance to defend yourself while running around clearing landmarks. And it has really good sustain from Catharsis, Hunter's Fury. If you don't want to run Adrenaline Rush, I get it, but this is for like when players are jumping me. If you want something else to run while you're running around and it's really funny to do, you can run a Palisade Steelworks with Bloodsucker, and it gives you that extra armor on kill, and it gives you, well, Bloodsucker, which is bonus armor on kill. And yeah, those are the main builds that I've been using right now. Y'all have a wonderful day.